Why is it that the worst people seem to win in life? We see the successful people, the rich people, the people of power, and it just seems to be the worst people that would never be friends with. Why is it that they succeed in life and the nice people, the good people, seems to be losers in life, seems to get the scraps at the bottom? Why is it that they get walked all over? And, to explain this very well is Scarjo and Marcus Aurelius, which will make sense later. But they explain it very well. So bad people are winners. They are richer, they are famous, they are powerful. And Scarjo, that's for the later point. But yeah, we see these people in power, we see these people with fame, we see these people with riches and success, and they get everything that we want. They have it all. The movie stars, the singers, the politicians, they have everything in abundance. And they're bad people. They're the worst kind of people, but they seem to get everything. So, this is Scarjo in a film called The Nanny Diaries. And I know this might be a bit silly, but this sums it up really well. Scarjo is a woman with good morals, but she gets walked all over. But she wins in the end. And here is Mr. X. He has bad morals, rich AF, and he uses Scarjo and others in his life. And here is Marcus Aurelius. He has good morals. He is rich AF, even richer than Mr. X, and he loves all and treats everyone as an equal. And he said, the most noble pursuit is that of a good man, not of a great man. I correct that. He didn't say that. That is a quote I created off the back of all his works. From reading his works, this is what I summed up. So bad people are willing to cut moral corners, and you are playing the game on hard mode, the hardest difficulty, which is not a bad thing. Scarjo in this film, The Nanny Diaries, she's a good person. She gets pulled into a job that she didn't ask for because she felt empathy for a little child. She felt to care for a little child. And the whole film, she gets walked all over by the parents, by society, and by Mr. X. Certainly, Mr. X is the worst of people. She gets walked all over and treated like dirt. But she remains a good person for it all, and she does what is right. So, cutting corners isn't healthy. People cut corners. These bad people cut lots of corners, but it's not healthy in life. If you know someone that cuts corners, you kind of start to go, I'm not really a fan of that person. I'm going to stay away from that person. I'm talking about moral corners. And cutting corners is what children do when they steal toys or they throw temper tantrums. When they want that toy, they don't work to build a good relationship with the person that has a toy, or they don't work on good behavior to achieve that toy. They don't wait patiently for that toy. They just take that toy off another kid. And what that does is they ruin that relationship with the other kid. They make the other kid cry, and they label themselves now as a bully and a bad person. And they throw temper tantrums to get what they want. They scream and cry, and the parents eventually give in and give them what they want. This builds bad relations, but it also ruins your character. Of course, we can't blame kids, but I'm talking about adults doing this kind of thing. So, there's this quote, the strongest dog gets the bone. The actual quote is, Az erősebb kutya baszik, which means something else. Don't translate it. But the strongest dog gets the bone. That's all you need to know. But strength is only useful when exerted. So it's like the warrior in a garden, not a gardener at war. So we can have strengths, you can have strengths, but if you restrain yourself, you'll never get the thing that you want. So strength is only useful when exerted, and bad people exert all the strengths that they have to get exactly what they want. And they're not really bothered about who they hurt. They use all their strengths. You probably have more strengths than these people, but they're using it without restraint because they don't care for the mess that they leave behind. You actually care because you're a good person. And the problem is we've demonized anger and assertiveness, so we don't express it. So those that care have a disadvantage, and those that don't care have the advantage. So from a young age, when a kid gets angry, put them on the naughty step and say, this is bad, don't get angry. We don't realize that anger is mixed up and associated, it's woven in with assertiveness and confidence. And we demonize anger, so we demonize assertiveness. Well, these people, these bad people that get what they want, they have assertiveness in abundance. But it often is anger and recklessness and carelessness. But they have it. They have a tool that we refuse to use. So you can use assertiveness whilst remaining a good person. You can be direct and get the thing that you want whilst being a good person. But they don't need any of the moral stuff, so they just do it and don't care. So like I say, they're playing on easy mode. And they do what you want. They sacrifice their time, they sacrifice relationships, they sacrifice respect, they sacrifice morals. Bad people, the people at the top, the billionaire entrepreneurs, they don't care about their kid. They don't care that their kid is waiting for them day in and day out. I remember being there. You wait for hours for your dad to get home, and then he never comes home, and then you wait another day, and you get promises of him turning up, and then it's 10 years later and he never turned up. This is what the people at the top don't care about. They don't care about the people that relied on them, or the people that loved them, or the people that cared about them. They're not bothered. They can sacrifice that relationship. They can sacrifice the time. They can sacrifice respect. They don't care if people think they're a good person. They're not bothered about that. They're not bothered about these relationships. They're not bothered about morals. They can sacrifice all of it. You are constrained to these things. You're constrained. You actually care about your child. You care about your partner. You care about your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You care about your family. You care about being a good person. So these things hold you back, because when you go to make a decision, you think about all these things, how it affects them. They just go for the thing. They go for the kill regardless. They're not really bothered because they're selfish. So what can you do about this? Stop worshipping the wrong people. So look towards good role models. Create, I wrote about this in my book actually, Virtue Modeling. Get people you admire. They can be fictional, they can be real. People have like a "What would Jesus do" bracelet, or they have a necklace, or a poster of Marcus Aurelius, or a poster of Aragorn, or Boromir, or Samwise. They idolize someone, their good parent, their good teacher, whatever it is, and you look towards that person. You don't idolize people because they're rich and successful and because they don't care. You idolize the right people. And not really worshiping or idolize them, you just use them as a good role model. People like Steve Irwin or Fred Rogers. You look towards people like them, you look at their good qualities and you build upon them. And you block bad role models. You're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're on watching the TV, you're doing all this thing every day, looking at these people going, whoa, this person has a Bugatti, this person has loads of likes, this person has loads of money. Just block those people. You don't need to see that. They're not a good role model. But when you see all the likes they get, you see how happy they look, something in your brain says, that's who I want to be like. So stop worshipping the wrong things. You want to live in accordance with virtue. Live in accordance with virtue. Good character. A character that keeps harmony with the people around you. And the Stoics say virtue is the only good. And you block the bad things out. Again, stop following pages on Instagram and YouTube, whatever. Stop following them out of jealousy and envy, because you always feel lack of, and you always feel like you have to get those things to be like them. But you don't realize the things they've sacrificed. Many of these, there is good people that are rich and successful, but most of these people, the stuff they sacrifice, the waste and mess they leave behind, the people they hurt, you would never want to do that because you're a good person. Set new goals, the type of person you want to be, the good you want to do in this world, and learn Stoicism. How do you learn Stoicism? By following me, which is a good way. But read from the ancient Stoics, the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, the Discourses of Epictetus, and letters from a Stoic, Seneca. And if you want help as an entry point, my book, The Everyday Stoic Simple Rules for a Good Life, people have described it, reviewers have described it as the best entry into Stoicism. I've had a lot of messages saying like, I didn't get Stoicism, I tried to read the book, didn't get it, read your book, now I get it. It's very simple with real world examples, real exercises, and it's easy to understand. So I really hope that helps you. Thank you for listening. And I'm doing tomorrow's lesson is on, can Stoicism remove my anxiety? You have to wait to find out. Subscribe so you don't miss that. Thank you for listening. And if you really want to help me out, something that will really help me if you find value in my works, if you find value in my book, is I really would appreciate this if you could just leave a review on a website you got it from, wherever you got it from. Just leave an honest review. I'm not asking for 5-star review. I'm not asking for glowing reviews. Whatever it is you think of my book, just leave an honest review so the people that want to buy the book can look at that review and it can speak to them. Because something about my book spoke to you, it might speak to them and it can help them. So thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.